You're listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. Visit us online at www.xzoneradio.com.
But lately something's changed, it ain't hard to define. Yes, he's got himself a girl and I want to make her mine. And she's watching with
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and our fine and growing family of broadcast affiliates across Canada, the United States, Central America, South America, the Caribbean, the Pacific Rim, 24 Asian countries, and across Europe. If you'd like to give us a call, 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. Email is xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, you can always chat with us here during the show at talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our websites, www.xzoneradio.com and xzonetv.com. The L.A. coroner has completed the autopsy on Michael Jackson, but is deferring determining the pop star's cause of death until more tests can be run. It is believed that the pop star suffered from a heart attack after he went into cardiac arrest at his Los Angeles home yesterday, June the 25th. Coroner's spokesperson Craig Harvey told reporters that the toxicology test could take up to 6 weeks, maybe even 8 weeks. He said there were no signs of foul play or trauma to the body of Michael Jackson. He also confirmed that Jackson was taking unspecified prescription medication, but could not confirm which ones. Michael Jackson's body could be released as early as 6 p.m. tonight, he added. A close member of the Jackson family told reporters that Jackson was injected with the pain medication Demerol about half an hour before he went into cardiac arrest. Police are seeking to interview Jackson's personal doctor, who was thought to be with him at that time when he went into cardiac arrest, to find out additional information that could help them determine the cause of the singer's death. Jackson was taken to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles yesterday, where he died about 2 p.m. Eastern Time. A team of doctors tried unsuccessfully to resuscitate him for more than an hour before he was declared dead. Michael Jackson, dead at the age of 50. Joining me this hour to take a look at what happens behind the scenes when it comes to a sudden death like this, not only from the Los Angeles Police Department side, but also from the coroner's side, is a former Los Angeles police officer himself, Dr. William SCHNEID. He's been actively involved in the field of law enforcement for over 40 years. His assignments included internal affairs, narcotics task force, as well as patrol and investigative duties. He taught at the Rio Hondo Regional Police Academy on officer survival and ethics. He has completed and been assigned to various federal agencies and task forces during the past 40 years. Dr. SCHNEID has been routinely appointed by Los Angeles County Superior and Municipal Court judges as an expert in alternative sentencing and narcotics. Dr. SCHNEID has lectured on prison reform and was instrumental on aiding in the movement of mentally ill inmates from the Los Angeles County's Old Men's Central Jail to the new Twin Towers facility. Dr. SCHNEID is regarded as a professional seeker of truth and holds no bias either to the defense nor the prosecution, and he has been called upon by both sides. He is the recipient of the Law Enforcement Medal of Honor and the Medal for Valor. Bill is a licensed private investigator in the state of California. He is also certified by the State of California Peace Officer Standards and Training Bureau through supervisory level. He received his Ph.D. in 1994 with dual majors of criminology and psychology, graduating summa cum laude in his bachelor, master's, and Ph.D. He is currently the Director of Special Operations for Apex Strategic Investigations Group, a licensed international private investigations firm in Los Angeles. When I come back from this 2-minute commercial break, Dr. William SCHNEID and I take a look at the death of Michael Jackson as the X Zone continues live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A son's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why no one got to know. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Joining me this hour is Dr. William SCHNEID. And Bill, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you, Rob. Glad to be there.
Bill, it's been a busy day for law enforcement in L.A. as well as the coroner's office. Yesterday, the same thing because of the passing of Michael Jackson. What happens in a case of a high-profile celebrity like Michael Jackson when the death is sudden and they're trying to find the doctor who apparently had injected Michael Jackson with Demerol 30 minutes before he went into cardiac arrest?
Well, the doctor has resurfaced. This time he's resurfaced. Well, apparently when he disappeared, my guess is it was to find counsel and then reappear for an interview of which I understand is ongoing, with his attorney being present, and he's submitting to an interview. Should that interview turn into a suspect interrogation, then I would imagine his attorney would advise him to have no further conversation. There's a number of questions. I mean, we faced this certainly at the O.J. Simpson issue, and we're facing it now. We're facing it in the sense that when a spontaneous death occurs, certainly that of a celebrity, it becomes a crime scene, and that crime scene was disturbed by a couple of factors. One, that the body was moved. The responding paramedics wanted to pronounce Michael Jackson dead on the spot because he was flatlined on their EKG, and they saw no point in transporting him, but the doctor insisted, and so he was transported approximately 2 miles to UCLA Trauma Center, in which any attempts at resuscitation failed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have the original CPR occurring on a bed. Now, this doctor is a cardiologist. I can't imagine anybody trained in CPR attempting to start it on a bed. I mean, that's a surface that gives under
That's
pressure. Right. You would immediately take the person who's in cardiac arrest, put them on the floor, and then begin your CPR. So that would be, I'm sure, one question that the police are going to ask as to why did it occur there. The second one is, of course, the 9/11 call, which, if you haven't heard it, was made by somebody from the residence. It was stated fairly unemotionally and matter-of-factly, which again surprises me for a sudden death situation. You also have the fact that the first responders reported that it was stated to them that resuscitation attempts had been going on for quite some time. Now, my question, of course, is what does that quite some time equate to?
Yeah.
Certainly, this is a live-in doctor. If he suddenly found Jackson unresponsive, logically you would call 911 immediately and then go about your CPR. So why there was this time delay is, again, I'm sure a question that the detectives will probe into is that they've impounded the doctor's car that had assorted drugs in it. We don't know what they were, but the car has been impounded, and I'm sure it'll be thoroughly gone through for any possible evidence of foul play.
Bill, we've got the 911 call here, and we're going to play it right now.
Fire Paramedic 33, what is the emergency?
Yes, sir. I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir.
Okay, sir. What's your address?
It's 100 North Carrollwood Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90077.
You said Carrollwood?
Carrollwood Drive, yes.
Yes. Okay, sir. What's the phone number you're calling from? Okay, sir. And what's the problem? Tell me exactly what happened.
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not.
Okay.
Not,
okay. How old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50. Okay. He's unconscious. He's not breathing.
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either. He's not breathing.
He's not conscious, sir.
Okay. All right. Do you have him? Is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the bed.
Okay, let's get him on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, let's get him down to the floor. I'm gonna help you with CPR right now. Okay.
We need him.
Yes, we're already on our way there. We're on our way. I'm gonna do as much as I can to help you over the phone. We're already on our way. Did anybody see him?
Yes, we have a personal doctor here with him, sir.
Oh, you have a doctor there?
Yes, but he's not responding to anything. No, he's not responding to CPR or anything, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on our way there. If your guys doing CPR and you're instructed by a doctor, he has a higher authority than me, and he's there on scene.
Okay.
Did anybody witness what happened?
No, just the doctor, sir. The doctor's been the only one here.
Okay, so the doctor see what happened?
Doctor, did you see what happened, sir? Sir, you just, if you can please.
We're on our way. We're on our way. I'm just passing these questions on to my paramedics while they're on the way there, sir.
Thank you, sir. He's pumping his chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir. Please.
Okay. We're on our way. We're less than a mile away. We'll be there shortly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Call us back if you need any help. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is the 9/11 call put into the Los Angeles Fire Department yesterday, June the 25th, requesting assistance. Bill, why? Something doesn't make sense with that entire phone, that entire 9/11 call. Something seems to be out of whack in it.
Well, first of all, normally somebody is I mean, I'm assuming this is a houseman or some assistant that's making this call by virtue of the fact that he keeps saying "sir."
Mm-hmm.
I would think, again, logically, that the first thing that he would be saying is, I'm calling from Michael Jackson's house. Because obviously he's trying to imply a greater sense of urgency. This isn't just anybody. Michael Jackson is here. He's not responding to any CPR. We have a doctor on the scene. We need you here right away. That sense of urgency is almost methodical, and we have him on the bed. You heard that,
yes.
And that clearly, may come back to haunt somebody, because that's letting me think that perhaps the arrest already occurred and was an after the fact, and the physician. I mean, again, this is my supposition, that the physician saw no point in putting him on the ground, that in fact he had already expired.
The question that I have to ask, Bill, and I agree with you 100%, is why then, when he was received at UCLA Medical Center, did they try to keep reviving him for more than an hour?
Because who he is. Simple. Nobody wants to take the responsibility of calling, a death for publicity reasons. They don't want to say that Michael Jackson arrived at the emergency room, he didn't appear responsive, we declared him dead. How do you think that's going to play, to millions of fans, family, et cetera? They want to be able to put their best foot forward, and even though they may have been convinced at the onset that he had already expired, they want to at least, pull out every stop so that no matter what, when there's a statement by UCLA spokesman, they could say, we had cardiologists, we had pulmonary experts, we had every conceivable piece of equipment to resuscitate him, and everything failed.
I spoke to a member of the medical community earlier today, Bill, and he said, in all likelihood, if Michael Jackson would have been resuscitated,
he'd be brain dead.
Brain dead. Exactly.
Yeah, you have 7 minutes of what they call hypoxia, of no oxygen to the brain before you basically are flatlined as far as your brain goes. So, assuming that this resuscitative attempts occurred for, quote, quite some time, we have to assume that he had been dead for at least 7 minutes, even if you think in the time necessary for the paramedics to get there was probably close to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So under the best of circumstances, I agree with your medical consultant that any damage would have been cerebral and would have been devastating and would have been frankly pointless.
By the way, the doctor has been identified as Dr. Conrad Murray, and we're going to try and find out what we can find out about Dr. Murray over this commercial break. Bill, stand by. You and I have to take our commercial break with the news. Dr. William SCHNEID is our special guest, and Dr. SCHNEID is the Director of Special Operations for Apex Strategic Investigations Group, a licensed international private investigation firm in Los Angeles, California. If you'd like to contact Dr. SCHNEID and acquire the services of Apex Strategic Investigations Group, www.worldfind.biz. That's www.worldfind.biz. Dr. SCHNEID and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
I came back from a weekend with the boys, took one look at my wife, and couldn't believe my eyes. Her face was so smooth. It was like she turned the clock back 10 years.
I look at her.
no more crow's feet, and her frown lines disappeared. It's amazing.
Do you want to know the secret to smoother skin, less wrinkles, and no more dark circles? Introducing iSera, the clinically proven skincare serum that rolls on. iSera is designed to treat even the toughest wrinkles, crow's feet, and even eliminates dark circles and under-eye puffiness. Want to try it yourself? Well, now you can. Risk-free. That's right. Roll away wrinkles with iSera. It's guaranteed to work for you. Even the ones closest to you won't believe their eyes.
I still can't believe the difference a couple of days made.
So what are you waiting for? Roll away wrinkles and roll back the clock. Call today for your risk-free trial of iSera. 888-368-3943. 888-368-3943. That's 888-368-3943.
Douglas James Cottrell, who has been called Canada's Edgar Casey, has just made available his latest CD, Douglas Cottrell 2012 Earth Changes, the first CD in the 2012 Prophecy series. This session features information gathered from the Akashic Records in a deep trance meditation session by Douglas James Cottrell in March of 2009. In this session, Douglas explains changes that have taken place in the Earth's core, changes to the Earth's poles, and the real reason why the polar caps are melting. Douglas also elaborates on increased volcanic and earthquake activity between now and 2012, including what, where, and when. To order your copy of Douglas Cottrell 2012 Earth Changes, visit his website at douglasjamescottrell.com or call toll-free 877-COTTREL.
You're listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. Visit us online at www.xzoneradio.com.
Hi, this is Eric Rawls of Cosmoverse.com, and you're listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone.
Hi, this is Blade Runner, and you are listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Hi, I'm Laura Sabrin of Feast to Fields Organic Vineyard in Jordan, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Hi, my name is Lady Ashley, the White Witch of Niagara-on-the-Lake, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal talk radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Fire Paramedic 33, what is your emergency?
Yes, sir. I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir.
Okay, sir. What's your address?
It's 100 North Carrollwood Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90077.
You said Carrollwood?
Carrollwood Drive, yes.
Yes. Okay, sir. What's the phone number you're calling from? Okay, sir. And what's the problem? Exactly what happened?
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not.
Okay. Okay. How old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50. Okay. He's unconscious. He's not breathing.
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either. He's not breathing.
He's not conscious, sir.
Okay. All right. Do you have him? Is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the bed.
Okay, let's get him on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, let's get him down to the floor. I'm gonna help you with CPR right now. Okay.
We need him. We need a.
Yes, we're already on our way there. We're on our way. I'm gonna do as much as I can to help you over the phone. We're already on our way. Did anybody see him?
Yes, we have a personal doctor here with him, sir.
Oh, you have a doctor there?
Yes, but he's not responding to anything. So no, he's not responding to CPR or anything, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on our way there. If your guys doing CPR and you're instructed by a doctor, he has a higher authority than me, and he's there on scene.
Okay.
Did anybody witness what happened?
No, just the doctor, sir. The doctor's been the only one here.
Okay, so the doctor see what happened?
Doctor, did you see what happened, sir? Sir, you just, if you can please.
We're on our way. We're on our way. I'm just passing these questions on to my paramedics while they're on the way there, sir.
Thank you, sir. He's pumping his chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir. Please.
Okay. We're on our way. We're less than a mile away. We'll be there shortly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Call us back to CDL. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
question is, who is Dr. Conrad Murray? Well, he's the man the Los Angeles Police Department homicide team investigating the death of Michael Jackson is now talking to. Dr. Murray is a cardiologist licensed to practice medicine in Texas and was living with Michael Jackson at his rented Beverly Hill mansion as his personal physician. Police sources are reported to have said the doctor gave Jackson an injection before he died. Jackson family members said the dead entertainer received a daily injection of a synthetic narcotic similar to morphine, Demerol, and yesterday he received a shot at 11:30 a.m. from Dr. Murray. The Houston cardiologist is reported to have performed CPR until paramedics arrived and continued doing so at the UCLA Medical Center. Now, according to Vitals.com website, which allows patients to grade doctors, Dr. Murray completed medical school in 1989 at Meharry Medical School of Medicine in Nashville, Tennessee, and then an internal medicine residency at the same school in 1992. He completed a fellowship in cardiology in 1995 at the same school, as well as another year in interventional cardiology. Dr. Murray is affiliated with Doctors Hospital Tidwell in Houston, Texas, St. Rose Dominican Hospital in Henderson, Nevada, and St. Rose de Lima and Siena campus. His profile on the site lists him as an internal medicine specialist specializing in cardiology and cardiovascular disease, while another site he is listed on as working for Global Cardiovascular Association in Las Vegas, Nevada. Prior to his name being linked to the death of Michael Jackson, Dr. Murray was described by patients on Vitals.com website as the best cardiologist and one of the most caring doctors they have ever met. However, since his name has become public, the comments section has been flooded with messages of abuse from Jackson fans, labeling the doctor as a murderer and questioning why he took so long to talk to the police. Jackson family members are claiming the dosage the King of Pop received from Dr. Murray yesterday was too much, and it's what caused the entertainer's death. Now, Los Angeles Police Department has confirmed the BMW with Texas license plates that was towed from Jackson's rented mansion by police investigators is registered to Murray's sister and said to contain medications pertinent to the investigation. Murray's account of what happened could be critical in establishing what happened to Jackson, who is rumored to have suffered a Demerol overdose. My guest this hour is a former Los Angeles police officer himself, now a doctor of criminology and psychology. Dr. William SCHNEID is our special guest. He is now the Director of Special Operations for Apex Strategic Investigations Group, a licensed international private investigators and investigations firm in Los Angeles, California. And Bill, this story just keeps on going and going and going.
Well, you've got a few, glitches in the story, in the sense that, one, I'd be interested in knowing, how the Jackson team picked this particular doctor, because he's a fairly nondescript doctor, given the amount of money that Jackson has. I mean, the rent on his mansion alone was $100,000 a month.
Wow.
So, he can afford, virtually any physician. So why he picked the cardiologist, who knows? Remember, too, that the insurance company that was going to insure him medically prior to his tour in London gave him an exhaustive 4-hour physical and rated him in good health.
That's right.
So, now we have that. Now, that's not to say people don't die a sudden death, following a physical for some reason or another that just simply is missed. My other question would be, knowing that Jackson taking narcotics, virtually, every physician, every emergency responder, every hospital has on hand a drug called Narcan. Narcan is a instant antagonist to opiates. In essence, it's an antidote to an opiate and immediately reverses the symptoms of an overdose. Doesn't change the fact that you have an overdose. It just buys you time because it stops the action of the opiate. So why that wasn't mentioned as being given, or why they didn't see any ampules of it, laying around, that's also, I'm sure, a question that the investigators are going to ask. Also, the other year, Beverly Hills Pharmacy reports a drug purchases in excess of $100,000 that they were going to litigate Jackson on for not paying the bill. Ultimately, it was taken care of. Well, $110,000 is a heck of a lot of medicine.
That's right, it certainly is.
And if he is, in fact, an opiate addict, normally the drug of choice is morphine or Dilaudid, not for his addiction. He could be an addict because of chronic pain that he's in. But, Demerol is, for somebody who's in chronic pain, is rarely given, even in the emergency room of the best hospitals around. Morphine will be given before Demerol because they found through the years Demerol is a synthetic form of morphine, but it has many, many, many side effects that can cause grand mal seizures, it can cause respiratory arrest, it can cause a plethora of things. So that really is not a reason, to give Demerol, and, given all the side effects that it has.
Bill, some of the information coming into our newsroom now about Dr. Murray is that state regulators have had no records of any disciplinary action against him. However, records show that he has had severe financial problems. He filed for bankruptcy in California in 1992 when he was listed as living in Loma Linda, where he had done graduate work at Loma Linda University. He has also had several tax liens filed against him in California and Arizona.
Well, rest assured that we will know more about this doctor by the end of the weekend than this doctor cares for the public to know about. I mean, he is going to be dissected by not only the media, but law enforcement as well. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for there's a lot of hypothecating going on, but we're going to have to wait for the ultimate toxicology report to see what's present, whether or not there was any Narcan present, whether or not there was lethal levels of Demerol metabolite present or morphine metabolite. I mean, it depends on, again, so much is depending on what the coroner's office is going to find on their toxicology report.
Yeah, I found it rather strange that the Jackson family is now coming out and saying that, where was that? The Jackson family members are claiming the dosage the King of Pop received from Dr. Murray yesterday was too much, and it's what caused the entertainer's death, so they're pointing the finger at the doctor.
Well, but again, the doctor-patient relationship is fairly sacred.
Yes, it is.
And not knowing the relationship between the physician and the family itself, I can't conceive that he would be calling the family every time he's going to give Michael Jackson a dose of something. So, how they are able to, they haven't indicated the validity of their statement. In other words, they didn't say, an hour ago the doctor called and said, I'm administering 30 milligrams of Demerol to Michael.
Right.
So where that figure of how he was being medicated and in what dose levels, that's, again, an open question.
Bill, what happens after what would have happened after Michael Jackson had been formally pronounced dead? What is the procedure at that point?
At being pronounced dead at the hospital as opposed to the scene, if he was pronounced dead at the scene, his body cannot be moved by anybody other than the coroner. You can't roll him over. You can't touch him, basically, until he is now the possession of the coroner of the county of Los Angeles. Henry Lee, who used to be the famous coroner to the stars, so to speak,
yes,
who handled Marilyn Monroe and everybody who was anybody, and has written many books, was always lavished in being in the light of these inquests because he was stage center. This case, we have a coroner that doesn't particularly lavish publicity, but is going to do a very, very thorough job because of again the nature of who this is, as opposed to just some homeless person. So they're going to spare no expense in doing spectrographic analysis. They are going to do a presidential dissection of Jackson, including his heart, to make sure as to what was the direct cause of his death. I mean, cardiac arrest, we all die from that, but it's incidental to something. Something happens. It's either a clot, a drug overdose, trauma, something. Your heart just doesn't automatically stop without something happening. So they're going to try to backtrack to see what precipitated him going into respiratory arrest. Now, let's say he went into respiratory arrest first because he had a overdose of narcotics. Well, if you stop breathing, the next thing is your heart stops. But that would be the order of events. You would have respiratory arrest followed by cardiac arrest. And again, there's just a lot of unanswered questions at this point as to what resuscitative equipment was there. I would think a private physician, certainly a cardiologist, would have a portable defibrillator there.
That would make total sense.
Again, we're not talking about a poverty case.
No.
So having a portable defibrillator, there was no mention that one was there. There was no mention that one was used. So, before you would even start CPR, if you found somebody in arrest, you would immediately put the portable defibrillator on, which has its own electronic brain, senses, what's necessary, gives the appropriate jolt, and away we go. So the fact that that hasn't even been mentioned is undoubtedly going to be, another question in the coroner's inquest as to just how was that house medically equipped to deal with medical emergencies.
Bill, stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Dr. William SCHNEID is our special guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. Dr. SCHNEID is a regular here on the X-Zone, and we value his opinion, and Bill, it's always great having you with us. Dr. William SCHNEID is currently the Director of Special Operations for Apex Strategic Investigations Group, a licensed international private investigations firm in Los Angeles County. If you'd like to contact Dr. SCHNEID, or if you would like to retain the services of Apex Strategic Investigations Group, www.worldfind.biz is their website. That's www.worldfind.biz. Dr. SCHNEID and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X-Zone continues right here on Talkstar.
Choosing someone to help guide you through deep financial waters is an important as well as very personal decision. Let me tell you good news. You have a friend in the loan business who is sincerely anxious to help you when you need it. The toll-free number, in case you ever do need it, is 1-866-464-1800. There will be an interested, caring, and friendly voice at the other end of the line when you call Prime Pacific Capital. I know it's not every day you need advice on consolidating credit cards or getting a home loan or getting a lower interest rate, but when you do need help, that's no time to take chances. Call 1-866-464-1800 or visit www.talkstarradio.com. Call 1-866-464-1800 and introduce yourself to your friend in the money business. But don't ask for free samples. I already tried that. It doesn't work. Call 1-866-464-1800.
Are you getting tired of all the bad news? Well, then take a break from the worries of the world and play the love game. It's time to focus on what is really important in our lives, our relationships. You deserve more love, happiness, and harmony in your life. Synchro Hearts is the new hot relationship game that guarantees more love, laughter, and romance for you and your partner. It's not a sex game, it's a love game based on all the important relationship stuff like better communication, more intimacy, and lots of fun and excitement. Great intimacy is just one of the benefits of playing Synchro Hearts. Now, President Obama inspires hope, love, and peace for the world. Synchro Hearts offers more hope, love, and harmony for relationships. To order your very own edition of Synchro Hearts, visit Synchro Hearts' website now at www.synchrohearts.com. That's www.synchrohearts.com. Synchro Hearts. It's the game you love to play and play to love.
Still to come on tonight's show, Exo Nation, we have John Kane in the next hour. He's going to be doing psychic readings for one and all who give us a call at 1-877-528-8255. And in the final hour of tonight's show, we have a good friend of mine, Patrick Heron from Ireland. He's going to be talking to us about his new book, The Return of the Antichrist. That's still to come tonight here on the X Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. My guest this hour is our good friend Dr. William SCHNEID, who is the Director of Special Operations for Apex Strategic Investigations Group, a licensed international private investigations firm in Los Angeles County. Their website is www.worldfind.biz. That's www.worldfind.biz. With it going to be another 6 to 8 weeks for all the tests to be completed by the coroner's office, Bill, what do you think, what effect is this going to have on any investigation that may be going on? And why is this investigation being conducted by the homicide department of the LAPD?
Well, the robbery homicide division is really the elite division that responds to high-profile homicides. And they responded on the O.J. Simpson case. These are, considered really the cream of the crop detectives. Robbery used to have a separate division, but they merged into these really seasoned veterans that even though some of the evidence was botched at the O.J. Simpson case, I don't begrudge them for that. But, here certainly I'm sure they're somewhat annoyed at the situation at the crime scene and the fact that the doctor conveniently disappeared.
Especially since it's been learned that the doctor was in the ambulance doing CPR all the way to UCLA.
Well, I'm sure somebody got on a cell phone and said, before you talk to the police, you better get an attorney.
Exactly. Bill, I'd love to have you back on next Friday, the same time, if that works for your schedule, to do an update and to see what's happened over the week and how it's progressing in the case.
Absolutely, and if anything really newsworthy breaks, we can interrupt scheduling at will during the week before that.
Bill, I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate the great work that you do, and it's an honor calling you my friend.
An honor for me as well.
You take care of yourself, Bill, and thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Good night.
Dr. William SCHNEID, www.worldfind.biz, and Dr. SCHNEID is the Director of Special Operations for Apex Strategic Investigations Group, a licensed international private investigation firm in Los Angeles, California. We'll be watching and following the Michael Jackson case, and as Bill said, if any major developments occur, we'll let you, the Exo Nation, know right away. Been getting a lot of emails pertaining to our first guest tonight, Andre Nierenberger, and his story. I still say if I had enough money, I would buy every person who has ever thought that the Holocaust never happened a copy of this book and sit them down and make sure that they read each and every page. The name of the book is Through My Eyes by Andre Nierenberg. I'll be back on the other side of the news at 6.5 minutes past as we continue here on the X Zone. Our guest is going to be John Kane, and he's going to be doing psychic readings for one and all who give us a call at 1-877-528-8255. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X Zone, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We'll be back after the news with John Kane doing psychic readings. Don't go away.